I love Raycast. It's one of my favorite productivity apps on the Mac, but until now, when I've ever wanted to install an extension, I've always relied on what other developers have created that is already available online. Recently, I was able to build my very first Raycast extension using Claude Code. And I'm not a developer, I don't have deep coding knowledge. I was just able to give Claude a prompt and slowly figure out the process to install it into Raycast. First, let me just show you what I built. For some background context, I am a Pipedrive user. This is Pipedrive, and for those that don't know, Pipedrive is a sales CRM. It is essentially a web application that allows you to keep track of the deals and leads and people you're trying to sell your services to. Quick side note, we're actually a Pipedrive partner. If you're looking for a sales CRM, check out our YouTube channel where we have tons of training videos teaching you how to use this tool. And because Raycast is essentially a really powerful search tool, I thought, wouldn't it be cool to have an extension that would allow me to search my Pipedrive account? So instead of having to open my browser, click into the search field and type in here, I'd love to do that search using Raycast. And that's what I've built. So now if I type, and I've created a hotkey to launch my extension, so if I type PD, my search Pipedrive extension runs. It's now doing a live search of my Pipedrive account. It shows me deals, people, and organizations I've recently updated. Or if I start typing, so I'll put in my company name here, Minaco, it's showing me people, organizations, deals, and contact people related to that particular search. So I can then click on one of these names, Raycast will open my browser and run the search directly in Pipedrive. And it's not just helping me with the search, it's actually surfacing useful information like contact email addresses, phone numbers, even the status of deals. I can see which deals are won or lost. And so it's actually helping me do the search by surfacing key information. And to create this extension, I just did this all using Claude on the Mac. This is the native Mac application. I should point out I'm on a Pro plan, and in the code tab, I was using Opus 4.6. So here is the prompt that I gave it. I said, help me create a Raycast extension that I can use to search Pipedrive. My thought on how to do this, because I'm an idiot, you may have a better idea, is to use the extension to open my browser, navigate to the Pipedrive tab or open one, type the / key, because this is the shortcut to put the cursor in the search bar, and then paste the query. Now Raycast said, yep, that could work, or we could just use the API and show the results natively in Raycast, and it actually asked me, which approach do you prefer? I said, definitely your idea, that's way better than mine. And for this next part, I don't really fully understand what Claude did. I just know that it went away, it did some research about the Pipedrive API, how Raycast extensions work, and then it got to work building the actual extension until we got down to here. So it said, great, the extension is ready to go. Now, it actually created the extension as a series of files in my Finder. So under my Paul Miners user folder, I have this Claude Code folder, and this is where it actually created the extension called Pipedrive Search. So this is what Claude Code actually built. Here's all the files and information that makes it work, I guess. And so the next step was installing this into Raycast, and it actually provided me with the instructions down here. Now, this is where I got a little bit stuck, because to do this, you actually have to use the terminal on the Mac. So terminal, this is an application that comes standard on every Mac. We use the terminal to install the extension to Raycast. Now, Raycast actually has some useful information on their website about how to install extensions. You need a program called Node.js. All of this was new to me. I had no idea how any of this worked. So I just simply asked Claude and I said, look, I'm not sure how to install it. Please talk me through it. And it guided me step by step through installing Node.js into terminal so that I could actually install the Raycast extension. Now from there, I started to have a few issues. Number one, I noticed that the logo wasn't loading properly. And number two, the actual search didn't work. When I tried to search, it just returned no results. Claude went away and it troubleshooted the issue and made some updates and said, okay, I fixed both of those things. And you can see again here, I said, look, oh, sorry, I'm confused by this part. And this is the great thing about Claude. If you're not sure how to do something or what it means, just ask it to help you. And so it said, oh, look, you don't need to do anything, just try it again. At which point, yes, great, the search started to work. I still had some issues with the logo. From there, I kept going back and forth. I made some tweaks to make it so that the more recently updated people and deals showed at the top. I also wanted to show recently searched items in the default state. So when you just type PD, before you type a query, I just wanted some recently updated items to show. So I made a few updates, and Claude, within about an hour, I would say in total, I had my working extension ready to go. Now, if you are a Raycast power user or a developer, then this probably isn't going to be that impressive. But for the everyday Raycast user, especially if you're not a developer like me, this is really exciting, because instead of having to wait for an extension to be created or just use what's available online, you can build your own extensions exactly the way you need them to work. Now, in my excitement, I showed this to my colleague, and he made a really good point, which is that next time you build an extension, try and give Claude Code as much information in the initial prompt as possible. Instead of doing what I did, where I asked it to go back and make updates and tweak that and change that, the better quality that initial prompt, it can make the first draft of your extension a lot better, rather than kind of updating it and tacking things onto it later. So that's my kind of key lesson for next time. If me sharing this with you was useful, please give this video a like. It's the best way to support this channel. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video.